Welcome to Anima, a sleep token theory. I'm Dave, and this is the R.Y.S.E movement, where we teach you how to raise your standards everywhere. The great 20th century psychoanalyst Carl Jung stated, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, you will call it fate and it will rule your life." This is a love letter to Sleep Token and Carl Jung, who both have given me the tools to connect to a much deeper creative part of myself that I thought I lost as an innocent boy. Their body of work has really benefited me in my life, and I'd love to share this with you for how it could possibly help you in yours. This video will discuss key concepts from Carl Jung. It will go into my theory of how R.Y.S.E, the vocalist of Sleep Token, is doing elaborate, dramatic shadow work for the whole world to play along with. This is his grand myth that he's playing out, and that is a common theme through Carl Jung's work for individuation, to become whole, to become all that you can become. We're going to discuss key concepts such as water, feminine, and darkness as symbology to realms of the unconscious. We have to be able to take our lens of consciousness and shine it onto those parts that we don't want to look at, and that's what the shadow is. Showing up with things like the persona. The persona is the mask that we wear. These are concepts that we're going to be talking about heavily inside of this video. The major part of my theory that comes down to is R.Y.S.E is the persona. He literally dons the mask of persona to be able to show up through this creative endeavor because he feels so fractured inside of himself. Who knows what's happened in the real person's world, in the real person's psyche with emotions and stuff? That's not up for discussion. What we're talking about is how he presents this elaborate shadow work through the persona of R.Y.S.E, interacting with his feminine counterpart as his soul, as his anima, called sleep. This is a key concept that Jung talks heavily about, that every man has a feminine soul, which is his animating force, the anima. And every female has a masculine soul, which is called the animus. We'll be talking about this concept over and over and over. Some other concepts that we'll be talking about and referencing are the symbols of the unconscious. The symbols of the unconscious are either going to be water, darkness, or nature. Those three will come up time and time again. To be able to refer to the feminine, we are also talking about water, the unconscious mind, and also darkness, nature as well. So now that you know that, we'll dive into the framework of Carl Jung a little bit deeper, so you have a deeper grasp on how this could benefit yourself. We'll also be analyzing the lyrics, the symbology, the artistry of Sleep Token against key concepts from Carl Jung. One thing I despise more than anything when it comes to content creators is them gatekeeping it and putting it out in episodic fashion. Yes, I understand you need to be able to create content, however, it loses the narrative of it. One thing that I've done inside of this video is I've collated every piece of information that I have around Carl Jung, around Sleep Token, symbology, and these things, and put it in one place. Yes, this is a lengthy video, however, it's got everything you need in one place to be able to return to whenever you need it. Please note, I will not be talking about any of the real members' names, but only the persona they wish to present through their band names of 2, 3, 4, and R.Y.S.E. Following note, this is pure speculation and is part of my own psycho-spiritual journey as I unite opposites inside of myself. A word of warning to those that are as obsessed with Sleep Token as I am. You need to be doing the work internally and stop projecting onto them. Let them be as they are, not what you think they should be. This is art after all, and art is subjective, expressive, and unique to the individual. Who they really are doesn't matter. What matters is what the art stirs, awakens, and presents to you. That is the true magic, the true alchemical opportunity for you to use and become all you could become. Disclaimer. This is for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. The information provided in or through this video is for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. Not medical, mental health, or religious advice. I am not, nor am I holding myself out to be a doctor, physician, nurse, physician's assistant, advanced practice nurse, or any other medical professional or medical provider, psychiatrist, psychologist, therapist, counselor, or social worker, or mental health provider. This video should not replace a therapeutic relationship with a qualified and licensed medical or mental health professional. This video does not discuss an individual's specific psychology, nor does it diagnose anyone with anything. I am a coach, hypnotherapist, and allied therapist. This is part of my own personal psychological exploration. With that said, let's dive in. I'm going to provide a brief introduction to who I am, how I came up with this theory. I'm Dave. I'm a hungry student of consciousness. I have always been a deep thinker and have puzzled on the why since I was a child, probably due to the fact that I'm autistic. I was diagnosed last year, and this label provides me a new lens to look through the deeper aspects of life for why I was always the weird one in whatever group I was in. Being autistic, not understanding social interactions, unspoken agreements, and being an ineffective communicator, I was constantly perplexed with humans and studied everyone's incongruence from unconscious body language to what is said, the unspoken presuppositions of communication, and the complexities of interpersonal relationships. I have this language to frame it in now, thanks to my ability to hyperfixate and hyperfocus on topics of interest, and those topics of interest are people. It provides me a deep introspective layer to fill the void that I've had all my life of feeling like an outsider. I started my awakening journey in 2012 when I was taught to meditate and get on top of my anger issues. From there, went through a 2-year period of a physically, mentally, emotionally abusive relationship that provided me with a dark night of the soul where an unaliving experience called the mystical back into my life. I've studied many things in my journey, spending $60,000 plus on personal and professional development. Mentors, coaches, programs, experiences, all thanks to my curiosity around human consciousness. One of my favorite thinkers was Carl Jung. His concepts, messages, imagery, and framework spoke volumes to me. I truly believe that Jung was a misunderstood visionary that was held back by his own Christian shadow repressions, that he is truly a pagan, capable of conjuring, communicating, and worshipping a pantheon of personal gods. We are all missing a deep relationship with a higher spiritual guiding force. Coming to terms with a higher realm of chaos and order helps us navigate our human experience. This is why humans have projected meta ideas, concepts, and gods onto the stars and the realm of stories, allegories, and metaphors. We have been an oral species for hundreds of thousands of years, long before we had written anything down. Our unconscious mind works in symbols, metaphors, and imagery. Hint, this is why we're all so gripped by this band. It is the archetypal hero's journey by Joseph Campbell. By the end of the 3 major albums, we'll see Vessel go through the hero's journey where he starts in Sundowning. He ventures into the unconscious, into the darkness of the feminine, and faces the threshold guardian, sleep. To go through the trials she poses and fail multiple times with references to unaliving attempts. She is inevitable and becomes the helper he's always sought for. The second album is a dark night of the soul for Vessel. The song Atlantic is an unaliving attempt, anything to get me to sleep. Is the death and rebirth of the hero. Take Me Back to Eden is Vessel returning, although battered, triumphantly to the real world of daylight where he embodies sleep is always part of him in the great cycle of day and night, awake and asleep, masculine and feminine. Let's dive into archetypes. The first archetype we're going to start with is what majority of the world lives through. It's the persona. The persona is like a multifaceted mask we wear in the theatre of life. We'll come back to that later. Just as actors don different costumes and roles for various performances, we adopt different personas depending on the social context. At work, we might wear the mask of professionalism and competence, while with friends, we might don the mask of humour and spontaneity. These personas are not inherently false, but serve as social constructs that allow us to navigate different social situations with ease. The ego. The ego is the conscious captain of our ship, navigating the turbulent waters of life. Like a skilled sailor, it relies on charts, our beliefs and values, and the stars, which are our goals and aspirations, to steer us towards our desired destination. However, just as a ship can be buffeted by storms and unpredictable currents, our ego can be shaken by challenges and uncertainties. Yet, it remains resilient, adapting to the changing conditions and guiding us through the journey of self-discovery. Our ego isn't something to be feared. It's not something to destroy. It's not something that is bad. These are human concepts that we've thrust upon the ego. The ego is serving us at all times. It's really interesting. The shadow. This is my favorite. The shadow is the dark cavern within our psyche where we bury aspects of ourselves that we deem unworthy or unacceptable. It's like a hidden treasure trove of repressed emotions, desires, and traits lurking in the depths of our unconscious mind. Like shadows cast by the light, our unconscious influences shape our thoughts and behaviors, often without our conscious awareness. By shining the light of awareness into the shadow, we can uncover hidden gems of self-understanding and integration. The unconscious. The unconscious mind is like an expansive ocean teeming with our hidden depths and unexplored mysteries. It's the reservoir of our deepest fears, desires, memories, and archetypal patterns, influencing our thoughts and behaviors from beneath the surface of awareness. Like an iceberg, most of our mind remains hidden from view, yet its unseen currents shape the course of our conscious life. Exploring the depths of the unconscious can reveal insights into our true nature and potential. In fact, 95 to 99% of our lives' results are driven by our unconscious beliefs, values, and paradigms. If things aren't going right for you in life, your unconscious holds the key to unlocking everything that is holding you back. The unconscious and archetypes often present us through symbols, metaphors, visions, inspirations, and dreams. When you're dreaming, it is theorized from Freud and Jung and many other great thinkers that it is the unconscious communicating to you. The following 4 archetypes are going to be the major archetypes that people view their life through. These have been explored, extrapolated, and investigated by so many different people. One of my favorite books based on this subject of archetypes is mainly for men. It is King, Warrior, Magician, Lover by Douglas Gillette and Robert Moore. I strongly suggest that if you're a bloke listening to this, watching this, you need to go and read this book to be able to understand the way that your psyche works from an archetypal standpoint. So the sovereign, the ruler, the king, or the queen. The sovereign archetype embodies the wise and benevolent ruler within us, guiding the kingdom of our psyche with authority and wisdom. Just like a monarch, it governs our thoughts, emotions, and actions with fairness, balance, and integrity. This archetype empowers us to lead from a place of inner authority, making decisions that align with our values and highest aspirations. By embracing the sovereign within, we can create harmony and balance in our inner kingdom. However, this isn't the place that creates standards, values, belief systems. It's actually the lover. The lover is the instigational energy. So the lover archetype represents the passionate and emotional aspect of our psyche, celebrating love, connection, and intimacy. Like a flame that ignites the heart, it fuels our desires and drives us to seek meaningful relationships and experiences. The archetype embodies the full spectrum of human emotions, from ecstasy to heartache, reminding us that the richness and depth of the human experience. By embracing the lover within, we can cultivate deeper connections and enrich our lives with love and passion. The lover is also the instigation and creation archetype, where you create your values, beliefs, standards, and requirements. Everything is birthed from the lover. The hero and the warrior. The hero archetype embodies the courageous and resilient warrior within us, ready to confront challenges and overcome obstacles on the path to greatness. Like the valiant knight on a quest, it inspires us to face our fears, fight for what we believe in, and emerge victorious in the battle of life. This archetype embodies qualities such as bravery, determination, self-sacrifice, urging us to tap into our inner strength and unleash our full potential. Our full potential is unlimited in nature. You set the standards, you set your beliefs, you set your values. And if they're not set by you, they'll be set for you. The warrior is the one that goes and enacts. It's the one that takes relentless action towards your goals. The warrior trusts the plan and executes without fail. Now on to my favorite archetype, the magician. The magician archetype represents the alchemical power of transformation and manifestation within us. Like a master sorcerer, it wields the force of creation and destruction, enabling us to turn dreams into reality and manifest our desires into existence. This archetype embodies the power of intention, visualization, and manifestation, reminding us of our innate ability to shape our reality. By embracing the magician within, we can unlock the secrets of creation and unleash our creative potential. The magician is the manifester. It's not the manifester of the things that you want. It's not the manifester of the things that you don't, or the things that you label good or bad. It is the creation energy. It is the one that creates manifest. It is manifestation embodied. Think of the ancient magical words abracadabra, which translate roughly to I speak, therefore I create. It is the linguistic realm that allows time to collapse and for it to make manifest. If you were to start conducting shadow work on the opposite side of the sovereign, warrior, magician, and lover, you will find things such as the child, the victim, the saboteur, and the prostitute. These are the shadows of those four major archetypes that we all exist through. Shine the light of consciousness on those things and find yourself starting to become free from the shackles that are holding you back. The self. This one's really interesting. The self with a capital S. It's not the small self. It's not the ego. It's not the persona. It is the self is the totality of you. It encompasses everything. And it is the idea behind integration and individuation into the whole being. The self is the archetype that we should embody primarily. It is the one that we should collapse all of the paradoxes and all of the parts of our psyche that are fragmented into the whole. That's why shadow work is so important to do. The self is an archetype that represents the unified unconsciousness and consciousness of an individual. Jung often represented the self as a circle, a square, or a mandala. Anytime that you draw, paint a mandala with 4 equal quadrants, there is something psychological in nature that's happening. It's a gift from your unconscious. It's literally the union of opposites of conscious and unconscious aspects of the self. Creating the self occurs through a process known as individuation, in which various aspects of personality are integrated. Jung believed that disharmony between the unconscious and conscious mind could lead to psychological problems. Bringing these conflicts into awareness and accommodating them in conscious awareness was an important part of the individuation process. Jung suggested that there was 2 centers of personality. The ego makes up the center of consciousness, but it is the self that lies at the center of personality. Personality encompasses not only the consciousness, but also the ego and the unconscious mind. You can think of this by imagining a circle with a dot right at the center. The entire circle makes up the self, whereas the tiny dot in the middle represents the ego. It's only a small fraction of the self. Something that I wish to add here before moving on is the idea behind possession. Ideas, energies, archetypes can possess your consciousness if you let them. If you go wandering through the unconscious or playing with things that you're not well versed in, you can be overcome and have your consciousness hijacked by archetypes and ideas. Think of the overwhelming power that lust has on your consciousness. Once lust takes over your awareness, it literally grips your visual field by grabbing the back of your skull, and it will point your focus, your field of awareness, towards the pursuit of physical pleasure. The arousal of the senses makes you become intoxicated, and all levels of higher thinking, decision making go out the window as you embark on pleasures of the flesh towards ecstasy, towards death and rebirth. The French call an orgasm a petit mort, which means little death. Once you've recovered from your little death, you're born back into the normal waking consciousness, and the possession of lust is finished. You will see why this is so important later in the video when I explain vessels, anima, possession. From this explanation of Jung's archetypes, you can start to see Sleep Token through a new lens: psychological alchemy. Alchemy, in the context of Carl Jung's theories and frameworks, represents a profound metaphorical journey of transformation and individuation. The process of becoming one's true self. Capital S, self. Jung drew heavily from alchemical symbolism and philosophy to explain psychological processes and the journey towards wholeness. Here's an exploration of alchemy within Jungian psychology. So the great work. Alchemy's central aim, the magnum opus or great work, mirrors Jung's concepts of individuation. It is the process of transforming base materials, the unconscious psyche, into gold, the integrated and realized capital S self. Symbolism and archetypes. Alchemical symbols such as the philosopher's stone, the prima materia, and the stages of alchemical process serve as powerful archetypal images in Jungian psychology. These symbols represent psychic phenomena and stages of personal growth. For example, the Philosopher's Stone symbolizes the transcendent function, the integration of opposites to achieve wholeness, the transformation of the psyche. Alchemical processes such as nigredo, blackening, albedo, whitening, and rubedo, reddening, correspond to psychological states of disintegration, purification, and integration. Nigredo represents the confrontation with the shadow, the dark unconscious aspects of the psyche. Albedo signifies purification, illumination of consciousness, while rubedo symbolizes the union of opposites and the realization of the capital S self. Integration of opposites. Jung believed in the alchemical quest for the union of opposites. Masculine and feminine, conscious and unconscious, parallels the process of individuation. By integrating polarities within inside of the psyche, individuals achieve psychological balance and harmony, transcending inner conflicts and achieving wholeness. Alchemy is a spiritual practice. Jung viewed alchemy not only as a psychological process, but also as a spiritual path. The alchemist's quest for gold represents the soul's journeys towards self-realization and enlightenment. Think to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and the top portion focused on self-actualization. That is integration of mind, body, and soul towards your unlimited potential. Through inner work, reflection, and integration of the unconscious, individuals engage in their own alchemical transformation, seeking to awaken their true nature and purpose. In summary, Jungian psychology employs alchemical symbolism and philosophy to elucidate the psychological journey of transformation and individuation. Alchemy serves as a rich metaphorical framework for understanding the complexities of the human psyche and the quest for self-realization. How does this tie into Sleep Token? Let's discuss that now. Carl Jung stated, "Fear the soul, despise her, love her just like the gods. May they be far from us, but above all never lose them, because when lost, they are as malicious as the serpent, as bloodthirsty as the tiger that pounces on the unsuspecting from behind. A man who goes astray becomes an animal. A lost soul becomes a devil. Cling to the soul with love, fear, contempt, and hate, and don't let her out of your sight. She is a hellish, divine treasure to be kept behind walls of iron and in the deepest vault." To me, this is the same dual relationship that vessel has with sleep. From the above quote from Carl Jung, you can see how the polarization of the relationship with the soul and how vessel and sleep are doing the same dance. It's a dance of possession, love, fear, being distraught, being in despair, a deep yearning and wanting for connection, but it's also desperation, wanting to be separate from her because she's consumed him. She has possessed him. Vessel was anointed in a dream by an ancient deity called Sleep, who promised glory and magnificence for his servitude, loyalty, and carrying out Sleep's bidding. Whether this actually happened, we don't know. Going back to Jung's archetypes, we can see the relationship of Vessel and Sleep being a gift from his unconscious through dreams to start exploring what Sleep wishes to create through the band, music, lyrics, and imagery. This is where my belief that this is elaborate shadow work and anima possession comes from. Vessel and Sleep Token make many references towards the water, the feminine, darkness, serpents, being devoured, and being possessed. Let's dive into the music and put the lens of Gnosticism, mysticism, and Carl Jung's archetypes onto Sleep Token. Something that we should do before we get into the music is have a look at the visuals of the band. The band being anonymous and wearing black hooded robes with white masks shows Carl Jung's concept of the persona. The persona is the mask that we show up with, and these masks that they're wearing are symbolic of their music and art, being a persona, a vehicle they can anonymously express the internal world. Vessel's initial mask was symbolic of the god Asclepius, who was the Greek god of healing, forever in a perpetual loop of illness, injury, and healing himself. The symbol of Asclepius is a staff with a singular snake moving up the staff. A later iteration of his mask, where the symbolism of Asclepius was replaced with the band's bind rune. Something that I want to bring to attention, if you haven't gone down the rabbit hole of their symbolism, is the perfect balance of left to right of the bind rune. It's the union of opposites again. Vessel is the persona attempting to show unification of opposites of conscious and unconscious material, the capital S self and the anima integrating towards a whole being, towards individuation. The next iteration of Vissel's mask shows a lot more teeth, noticing the fangs at the bottom of the opening of his masks. I bring awareness to the lyrics inside of Jaws. Show me those pretty white jaws, show me where the delicate stops, show me what you've lost, and why you've always taken it slow. Show me what wounds you've got, show me love. Show me love, that's an interesting piece there. To me, that sounds like Carl Jung talking about his soul. He yearns for it. He has desperation to be reconnected with his soul, wanting to be consumed. That's something that we'll pick up a little bit later. This version of the mask, the persona, shows the possession of sleep, Vessel's anima, taking over the projection of Vessel. The next part might upset some people, and it's not my intention to do so. I'm only reflecting upon what Carl Jung's work suggests is happening in the greater society. This is something that we all have to contend with. Every single human needs to contend with this inside of themselves. And the current zeitgeist is what we project unconscious materia into call it the world of ideas, like the realm of ideas. The collective unconscious is what we feed into and what feeds from us. And that's how the greater zeitgeist is created. Anima possession refers to a state where a man becomes overly identified with or controlled by his anima, the unconscious feminine aspect of his psyche. Here's a detailed explanation. The anima archetype. In Jungian psychology, the anima represents the feminine qualities inherent in men's unconscious minds. It embodies aspects such as emotion, intuition, creativity, and sensitivity. The anima is not limited to personal experiences, but also contains collective feminine images and symbols. Anima possession. Anima possession occurs when a man is overly influenced or controlled by his unconscious anima. This can manifest as irrational emotions, mood swings, obsessive thoughts about women, or idealized fantasies. The man may project his anima onto women, seeing them as embodiments of his own unconscious desires or fears. He may also seek validation and fulfillment through relationships with women, often experiencing disappointment and frustration. Symptoms and manifestations. Anima possession can lead to moodiness, irritability, and irrational behavior in men. They may become overly emotional or sensitive, reacting strongly to perceived slights or rejections. The man may idolize women or certain feminine qualities, seeking external validation and approval to compensate for inner insecurities or feelings of inadequacy. Alternatively, he may reject or demonize the feminine, projecting his unconscious fears and anxieties onto women and viewing them with suspicion or hostility. Integration and healing. Jung believed that integration of the anima is crucial for psychological wholeness and individuation, the process of becoming one's true self. This involves recognizing and acknowledging the anima's influence, exploring its messages and symbols through dreams, active imagination, or creative expression. This is what my thesis is about. This is what this whole theory is based upon. Through inner work and self-awareness, the man can gradually integrate the anima into his conscious personality, finding balance between masculine and feminine energies and developing a healthier relationship with women and his own femininity. Cultural and societal influences. This one's interesting. Cultural norms and societal expectations can impact how anima possession manifests in men. Patriarchal societies may suppress or devalue feminine qualities, leading to greater anima repression or projection. Conversely, more progressive societies may encourage men to explore and embrace their feminine side, facilitating healthier anima integration and expression. Anima possession in a man's psyche reflects an imbalance or over-identification with his unconscious feminine aspects. By recognizing and integrating the anima, men can achieve greater psychological wholeness and develop more authentic and fulfilling relationships with themselves and others. You can see the anima possession everywhere in the world. From the stereotypical nice guy, think of it like the snag movement from 20 years ago, the sensitive new age guy. White knight syndrome, the spiritual bypassing man, the overly emotional man, the disembodied hipster. These men are the men that are exploring gender dysphoria and coming across as cross-dressers, the gender transitions. These men are possessed by the anima. And what they need to do is integrate and accept the anima instead of playing it out as a persona. The opposite is the same for women with the animus. The boss bitch movement, the radical feminist movement, something interesting to consider that they're being possessed by the animus, the masculine aspect of women. This is why the world is so conflicted at the moment down to the individual, because we have no higher ideal of integration, of wholeness. And so we're playing out this disembodied maladaptive psychological complex through persona. rather than integration, healing, and individuation of the capital S self. The part we've all been waiting for. Exploration of these concepts through the music. I won't be going into every song, otherwise this will be a 3-hour video, but we'll start with the first single released in 2016, Thread the Needle. We can spend the night in fascination. You can thread the needle time and time again. The term thread the needle means to manage to find harmony or strike balance between conflicting forces. Now, does that not sound like Jung's theory of collapsing opposites? Like that sounds perfect to me. What a place to start. The daylight recedes in unison. This room buries the hours like death in motion. Nobody else can pull me out. The fields of elation, quiet and loamy. The reference to daylight receding can be seen as a metaphor for the entering into the unconscious, into the shadow. When you're entering the unconscious, time often acts differently. Seconds can feel like hours and hours can feel like seconds. The word loamy means fertile, as in perfect soil to grow in. From these lyrics, we can extrapolate that the night equals fertile soil that only he can remove himself from. Interesting. Your name is a sin I breathe, like oxygen, caught in the careless arms of lust again. Nobody else can pull me out. The fields of elation, quiet and loamy. I'm losing my faith in our lives apart. You can see here, Vessel is flirting with his other part, with sleep. This is much like courtship at the honeymoon phase of the relationship before it turns codependent and toxic. You become enamored with one another. You desire to be as close to one another as possible. Time goes out the window as hours feel like moments. The nicknames for those we want to become enamored with, infatuated with, all result in a reference to sugar. Think along the lines of like sweetheart, honey. They're very sugary, aren't they? In fact, here's an interesting thing. Your pheromones start to become sweeter smelling to your paramour. And the opposite side, when you disdain someone, you resent someone, think of the bitterness in the language that we use. Moving on to Calcutta. Missing pieces find me. I sweat and I ache for your eyes and the way you breathe, and I wake saying your name. I'm whole again, just for a moment, till the morning comes and I wake saying your name. I'm whole again, just for a moment. The night, the unconscious, his soul, his anima only comes to him in sleep, in the dream world. He feels whole again just for a moment to only be awakened to daylight where he is by himself, without his love, missing that part of himself, the feminine, animating energy for his creativity, his inspiration, his intuition. Nazareth. Let's load the gun. Make her eat the tape in the bathroom mirror. See if she can guess what a hollow point does to a naked body. Let's fuck her up. Manifest pain at the core of pleasure. I'll see you when the wrath comes. Around tonight, you'll have the answer. This is the beginning of the anima possession. Irrational emotions, aggression towards the feminine, but it's only ever in the night, the realm that sleep occupies. So this is my own interpretation in moments of my own anguish where I've been navigating through emotional, spiritual, psychological turmoil. I've stared in the mirror and I've screamed at myself. It's like you're completely distraught at the level of overwhelm that your emotions are bringing you, presenting to you. It's like you get to this feeling of frustration where you honestly just consider ending it all in a massive show of fury. And that's what I believe is going on inside of Nazareth. Jericho. Tread ancient water, salt like I sink down like precious stones. Until I wake, I dine on old encounters until. This is Vessel talking to sleep, but following this, sleep starts serenading Vessel. You taste like new flesh. Say my name again. There's something in the way you lay, enough to make the dead switch graves. Say my name again. Then it switches back to vessel talking to sleep. My hands are not worthy until I wake. I dine on old encounters. So you can see how seductive sleep is being, playing with vessel. There's a little bit of seduction on both sides. They both yearn for each other, but the theme of flesh inside of this song is extremely sinister. It's an omen for things to come. Now moving on to their third EP release with Jaws. This is Vessel talking to Sleep, asking for clarification on how the feminine is wounded and what he can do. Are you watching me with eyes of a predator as you move towards the door? The reference towards the door, I believe, is based on Aldous Huxley's mescaline experience, where he detailed his trip report. Something interesting that happens for a lot of people when doing shadow work and unconscious change work is that when you start becoming extremely visionary from your explorations, hallucinations, visions, symbols, and synchronicity starts increasing because the unconscious language is through exactly that. Take note of the increasingly visual, psychedelic, mystical language of experience every time that vessel meets with sleep. I can say from my own shadow work, meditations, hypnosis, active imagination, etc., that the waking state of normal consciousness starts becoming dreamlike and the visual field starts becoming distorted, kaleidoscopic and visionary to the point of full waking dreams. And whereas sleep starts becoming more lifelike, realer than real, and you never really feel like you've slept a restful night's sleep. Things start becoming challenging, navigating reality as you've never really sure if when you're awake or when you're dreaming. So getting back to the lyrics, and I'm not here to be the savior you long for, only the one that you don't. So this is a giant generalization, and there have been pockets of feminine rising, ruling, and empowerment. However, I believe this could be Vessel trying to talk to the feminine as such in the collective unconscious due to the amount of violence, oppression, pain women and the feminine has been put in for the at least last 2,000 years. There's one thing that I'm puzzling and I can't wrap my head around it. I don't have any ideas behind it, and it's the imagery of the cockroach. So it's in this video here, but it's also in Nazareth as well. So if you guys have any other theories around, the cockroach and the white flower and stuff like that, drop them in the comments or DM me on other socials. I think it could have something to do with, I'm not even going to explore that. I want to have a little bit more of a thought around this. Maybe there's a follow-up video coming. So moving on, the way that you were. Inside of this song, we'll be discussing self-harm. This is a deeply personal song for me. This feels like it's sleep communicating to Vessel from the other side of his consciousness after battling self-harm. I could be wrong, but the lyrics, and I am so ready to tear that knife from what once would have been dead fingers lying blue against the floor. Come on, tear off the bandage. The way that you were, with pain as your language. The way that you were, will you show me the damage? So this is one of the most emotion-inducing songs for me, and I'm not going to go into the details because it's extremely private, but these lyrics are eerily close to how I felt when I showed up for a person going through this in my previous life. To accept them as they are, regardless of how broken they felt. And that self-harming created a way of feeling something other than what was there, what they were feeling. I feel as though sleep is showing that she has always been there, watching from the other side, unable to help due to being so fragmented from the rest of his psyche. There is so much raw emotion and a sense of anguish as Vessel sings this. The anguish, the feelings below the behavior of self-harm can be alchemized into so much more creative and empowering ways. Why do you guys think I do all that I do? This is my alchemical work. This is my individuation work. This is my personal myth. I do it because I have to, because of experiences like this. This being my alchemical work, so I don't have to feel the despair, anguish, and sadness that I can tap into whenever I do my shadow work or meditation or any other modalities that I connect to be able to transform, transmute, and create something wonderful with that powerful emotion. And you can do the same thing too. Just remember how absolutely amazing that you are. So that's the end of the EPs. We're moving on to Sundowning. So sundowning in medical terms is the process that many people suffering from diseases targeting mental deterioration go through, a concept that once the sun begins to set, their symptoms worsen. So I'd like to thank Newman Knight on Reddit for that caption. Absolutely beautiful. I couldn't have said it any other way. Beautiful. So they've done an amazing write-up over on that Reddit. I'm going to link it down in the description. Click on that if you want to have a read. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It's a lovely little write-up of sundowning as an experience as a whole. Having someone who's starting to go down the route of dementia, it was a very touching read. Thank you. So in the context of vessel and anima possession, this is the start of his journey into the unconscious. This is where things start getting intense for him, as the experience towards the end of the album is quite alarming. I want to be forgiven. I want to choke up chunks of my own sins, even if the sky cracks in the morning and the heavens just won't open up for me. Would you invite me in again? Let me pay for my arrogance. Won't you show me your weakness? This bargaining antagonism with the anima will ultimately bite him, pun intended, as she devours him like an eatable complex. And I will explain what that is when we start getting into the next album and the final album. The night does not belong to God, the start of the intoxicating possession from sleep. When you live by daylight with angels at your side, in order now bestowed by the light of the sunrise. The light of day is the realm Vessel lives in. Surrounded by angels of light, he is protected thanks to the light of the sunshine where only good exists. Vessel is surrendering to her majesty. The whites of your eyes turn black in the low light. The night is her domain. This is the place that he visits into the unconscious to visit sleep. The whites of your eyes. This is how humans have evolved to show our intention without language. The whites of your eyes show intention. Vessel can't see the whites in her eyes when he ventures down into the unconscious with her, which is extremely dangerous as he can't discern what her intentions are. We tangle endlessly like lovers entwined. I know for the last time, you will not be mine, so give me the night. It's interesting to say that he says, you will not be mine, because his access is only during the night when he is at the mercy of sleep. When he wakes, he doesn't have access to her. The night does not belong to God because it belongs to sleep. The offering. And you are a garden entwined with all. You are the silence on sacred shores. You've got diamonds for teeth, my love, so take a bite of me. Just once. The reference to the garden and sacred shores are symbolic to the Great Mother, the feminine as such. This is an offering for worship and to be consumed by her, to be possessed by her animating spirit. He isn't just offering himself, he's antagonizing her. Give in again, let me lay my arms belong around you. Trust in me, the masculine to hold you, to keep you safe. Go on, give in to me. This is the start of being devoured and possessed by sleep, by the anima. Levitate. This song is a love song to sleep, asking if where their journey is headed towards ascension, towards heaven, towards unity of opposites, like before the fall of man, before the knowledge of good and evil, before polarity, where they were once whole. And is that all you need to merely pretend to be, falling in love with me, forgetting the agony again? This is very similar to Jung calling out his soul inside of the Red Book. Let us thank the life I have lived for all the happy and all the sad hours, for every joy, for every sadness. My soul, my journey, should continue with you, and I wander with you and ascend to my solitude. The union of opposites, towards ascension, towards enlightenment, towards individuation. Dark signs. And I miss the man I was the moment we left off. I might break and bend to my basic need to be loved and to be close to somebody. And I hate who I have become. Every time I wake up, and I miss the man I was the moment we left off. And I hate who I have become every time I wake up. The song is about the pain before he found sleep and how he laments waking up, as if sleep, and dreaming is the only time he can escape from reality where he is alone, absent from his anima, from his soul. Most days you reach for dark signs, alarm bells in your eyes. This is sleep talking to Vessel, aware of how fragile he is during the day, when she is outside of his awareness. She is always there, but he can't perceive her. Higher. This song is entirely sleep talking to Vessel. Because you can remember, only when you're alone, I am granting you more than the debt that I owe. Remember to what Vessel originally said about what sleep can grant for him. Because I look for scarlet, and you look for ultraviolet. She sees scarlet. This will come up later. A symbolic colour for blood. To consume him, and he sees ultraviolet, the visible light spectrum that humans can see. And you need a melody, and I only need the silence. But each time we battle, the blood and the fury takes us a little higher. She exists in silence, in the vacuum, in the void, in the ether. The silence of night, whereas Vessel lives in the physical universe. Universe. Uni, one, verse, song, one song. It's poetic, isn't it? Give. This song is about the shadow, about the darkest impulses we have repressed, suppressed, denied, and avoided. This song is a dialogue between Vessel and sleep, where she is a space and energy of protection. This is a siren song saying, "Of course you can trust me. Look at what I can do for you. I want to taste you better. I'll be watching for your enemies to let them know they contend with me. I want to know you're out there. And in your waking moments, I will be there. Give in again." Oedipal complex much? Gods. This is Vessel's frustrations, that he has been abandoned by the gods. They mock him. They see his sacrifices as insignificant. You want to talk? You want to talk about it? Because the joke's on me, I'm laughing too. You want to watch me bleed? Because I bleed so well. The ancient gods, Jupiter and Zeus, Mars and Ares, all have an allegory for watching humanity pitifully try to impress them with all their sacrifices and labors. Do you like the way it feels? Like fire from the heavens, tearing me asunder beside you. This part is directed towards sleep in a moment of haste. It's like, why my soul am I the only one that is bargaining with the gods for my rightful place in the heavens, to ascend higher when you operate in the realms of the ether, when you can freely communicate with them because you are of their world and I am a mere mortal man. Sugar. Why would they put a siren song of seduction after spitting venom at the gods for abandoning us? This is to soothe and subdue the beast inside the man. This is sleep, testing, playing, and mocking Vessel to see if he's really invested in this little game they've been playing. Sugar, I've developed a taste for you. Do you want to see how far it goes? Do you want to test me now, my love? You must be crazy if you think that I'll give in so easily. Nothing like being seductively gaslit and provoked when you're low. Bloodsport. To me, this feels like it's Vessel's acceptance and request for forgiveness for how he has treated sleep and the feminine in the past. I want to be forgiven. I want to choke up chunks of my own sins, even if the sky cracks in the morning and the heavens just won't open up for me. Would you invite me in again? Let me pay for my arrogance. Won't you show me your weakness? This is a desperate plea to be united with her, again to return to the union of wholeness, even if being awake in the daylight is the prison he occupies in until he returns to her in the night. Moving on to the next album, starting with Atlantic. This song is about a suicide attempt, much like the self-harm element that was present in the song The Way You Were. So flood me like Atlantic, bandage up the trenches, anything to get me to sleep. Anything to get me to sleep. I woke up surrounded, eyes like frozen planets, just orbiting the vacuum I am. They talk me through the damage, consequence, and how it's a pain they know they don't understand. He's talking about the doctors viewing him in hospital after attempting to unalive himself. Anything to get him back to sleep, to his soul, to his love. This deeply tragic song shows the desperation to unite with what makes him whole. When you're in the place of despair and despondency and resentment, bitterness, and you're just occupied, possessed by such negative emotions, there's a desperation to feel something other than those emotions. That desperation can make you lash out at yourself. It can make you lash out violently at others too. That space, as terrifying as it is, can be an amazing teacher. It has been my biggest teacher. It's why I do what I do now. Voluntarily stepping into the darkness for me, who I am right now, compared to who I used to be, it is my place of comfort. I've spent so much time in the darkness. I've spent so much time laboring through the shadow, laboring through hell. And now I'm comfortable with it. Now it's a place of peace. It's a place of, yes, it's vastly unknown, and the unconscious and the shadow can be really terrifying. But at the same time, I expect it. It's like I'm not gaslighting myself to say that there's not things lurking in my unconscious. It's like, yeah, of course they're going to be there. I'm going to continue uprooting my shadow, bringing it into the light of consciousness so that I can individuate and become whole. That's my birthright. And it's the same as you guys. Hypnosis, a modality to talk with elements of the capital S self, the unconscious, anima, complexes, projections, and archetypes. Lift me out of my own skin, of all my doubts. Take from me, leave nothing left. Take everything. Vessel wants to be united with his soul, his opposite. Sink your teeth, leave nothing left. Same energy as Vor. He wants to be consumed or integrated. Or is this sleep's perspective seducing Vessel into the unconscious depths to consume him? She has an extremely predatory energy, wanting to consume him, the obedial mother, the chaotic feminine. A visionary experience that I had whilst I was writing this and I was recording this. The visualizations that came to mind was crashing waves with struggle, panic, screaming, like breathing in water. Like an all-consuming terror to be dragged underwater, to be dragged into the depths of the unconscious. And then the breakdown finishes and it's like a breath of fresh air, calm surface, and you pop up and emerge into the light of consciousness, away from the unconscious, away from the darkness, from the depths of the water. You take a breath and you go, I'm back, holy shit. That was overwhelming when I was doing this. If you guys haven't learnt, I'm quite weird, probably the tism. Let's move on. Mine. This is one of my favorite songs. Not for the possessive nature of it, but as a surrender piece. This song makes me think of my fiance, and it makes me fall in love with her every single time that I hear it. Again, not from that possessive energy, but from her saying it to me. So the lyrics, did you not say that we were made for each other? That for me is like, yeah, obviously, we're made for each other. We have such a deep connection, such a deep bond that we can't escape. We've been doing this dance for the better part of 9 years now. And every single day I fall in love with her even more. And so when she says things like, you will be mine. Oh, beautiful. Like, yes, woman, yes, I am yours and you are mine. And it's gorgeous. However, it's not like that in this song, is it? Did you not say we were made for each other? This line shows the level of desperation that Vessel has to be together with sleep, driven by a holy force. This is playing into the ethereal nature of the soul, his anima, and she is not of this world. He believes that bargaining with her desperately will get him to ascend. The possessive nature of the vocals at the end of the song is a magic with a CK, a magical incantation. and is using hypnotic language to emphasize the "you will be mine." Much like Jafar to the genie when trying to get Jasmine to fall madly in love and marry him. You will be mine. It's called an embedded command. And so the way that he's phrasing it is the presupposition of not only you will be mine, it's the will, it's the force. It's like no matter what, you will be mine. Like that. I stumble into your tar trap, an addition to your collection. He says that as if this wasn't voluntary and in fact antagonizing towards sleep. It's almost like he's saying, feed on my darkness if you're game. Fall into your eyes like a grave, all that is inside, all your anger. Bury me to the sound of your name, all your disgust, all your resentment. Fall into your eyes like a grave, all your pain, all your pain. Bury me to the sound of your name. This song is 100% about the shadow, the parts of us that we suppress, repress, deny, and avoid. These things are often attributed to negative emotions like anger, sadness, guilt, resentment, betrayal, bitterness, like these more disgusting sort of emotions. When they come up, you get like a sense of disgust is what it is. They're the things that we suppress and we push down and we don't feel. Especially as blokes, we're taught emotions you don't feel, emotions you don't show. You're stoic and that's it. What a load of shit. Feel your emotions. Energy in motion. Emotion, energy in motion. Alkaline. This one is pure alchemical gold. Pun intended. Let's talk about chemistry, because I'm dying to melt through. It's alchemy. It's base elements into gold, which is a theme that actually comes up later in the last album. She's not acid nor alkaline, caught between day or night, which is the union of opposites. It's polarity. What we're talking about here is integration, individuation. I'm caught up in her design and how it connects to mine. I see in a different light the objects of my desire. But it's not just the objects of my desire, is it? It's the objects of my desire. Like this is like my philosopher's stone. This is the thing that I want more than anything. This is my alchemical gold. Like this is how I turn me as who I am as a base metal into something like lead, into something that is pure, perfect gold. And this is the alchemy that Vessel is going through psychological alchemy. Vessel wants to have her with him in the light of day, in the light of consciousness, to be whole, to be integrated. That's what he's trying to do. He wants that divine feminine, he wants the intuition, he wants everything to be present with him in waking consciousness. Not just in the dream world, not just in sleep, not just in the unconscious. He wants it to be there front and center with him. Moving on to distraction. Oh, and I swear she's not like any other. No, something much more than I could ask for. It's too late for me. This is an acceptance of possession. He recognizes that he is in too deep, because I am broken into fractions, and I am driven to distraction. This is one of the hardest realizations along your awakening, on your individuation journey. It's just recognizing of how fragmented and fractured our psyche can actually be. We're all filled with contradictions, with complexes, and structures that are tearing us limb from limb psychologically. Distraction is one of the fastest ways of dissociating from the inner work that needs to be done. So I've got a question for you guys out there. What is the inner work that you're avoiding by watching this? What's the inner work that you're suppressing, denying, avoiding, and dissociating from by doing this? High water. For the time being, I'll admit my defeat again. I'll accept that I can't pretend we will ever be together. I can't hold myself together. This song is about vulnerability and fragility. The references to water in this album relating to being drowned by the unconscious, down into the chaotic waters of the feminine. This is, you can call it the dark feminine, you can call it the unintegrated feminine, you can call it a bunch of different things, but really it's all pointing at the same thing. It's being terrified about what goes on underneath the surface in our psychology. And if you've ventured down through psychology, through Jung, plant medicine, meditation, hypnosis, breathwork, whatever modality you've gone down through, you know just how terrifying the unconscious can actually be. when it presents itself to you in a raw way that says, what are you going to do about it? Vessel blames her so much for his fragile mental health. This song is a removal of armor to show how truly vulnerable he is, in hopes she relents her possession. Being that this song is final track for the album, and the final words spoken are, I can't hold myself together. This is like taking a final deep breath before the waves crash upon you, taking you deep underwater. Unsure if you have it inside you to return to the surface, to waking consciousness, to face another day. This place will become your tomb. It's interesting that the first track on Take Me Back to Eden is called Chokehold, after how we ended the last album with feelings of drowning, with being submerged into the feminine, into the waters, maybe not to come back up. We're literally choking. It's a very interesting way that they've tangled these up together. Speaking of tangle, chokehold. We were tangled up like branches in a flood. I come as a blade, a sacred guardian, so you keep me sharp and test my worth in blood. Even if it hurts me, even if I can't sleep, show me the way. This song opening the album is acceptance. These two are deeply intertwined. No matter what the experience, no matter what the outcome, Vessel has accepted his soul will show him the way forwards to ascension, to the realm of the gods, towards individuation, to heaven. Eden was the place that man existed in unity, totality, and before the fall of man, before Satan, the god of the earth, illuminated Eve and Adam to the split of unity into duality, into good and evil, chaos and order. The summoning. After the piece around accepting that he and Sleep are together to the end, this song is a vow of trust, mutual respect, no matter what on the journey to ascension, individuation, and the realm of the gods. There is a deep attraction and reverence to the fact that she is otherworldly, the taste of the divine. He truly recognizes that because she is of this other realm, the realm of the gods, of the ascended higher energies, that he is deeply connected to that. So he has a way of getting up there. He has a way of ascending. He's finally had that awareness to go, instead of being possessed by this, instead of being consumed by this, how about we just go on a journey together? That's pretty simply what individuation is. That's pretty simply what following your own personal myth is and creating your own story. It's extremely powerful to go alongside of your soul and to say, okay, you know my expressions better than I do, because you lurk in the unconscious where all of this information is stored. So you know me better than I know you. So how about you guide me? How about you show me the things that you want me to make manifest in this world? Wouldn't that be interesting if all of your soul's desires were the thing that you were meant to find purpose and meaning in? R.Y.S.E. A mixture of concentrated nitric and hydrochloric acids, usually one part of the former to 3 parts of the latter by volume. This mixture was given its name, literally royal water, by the alchemists because of its ability to dissolve gold. It's a red or yellowish liquid. I believe that this is Vessel accepting sleep is a much, much bigger part of him. Out of Eden's vices running through my veins. She's literally flowing through his veins. This song is the most alchemical, outside of alkaline, out of everything. Sleep is the aqua reacher. So divine and beyond this world, she can literally dissolve gold. The awareness of how powerful sleep actually is hits Vessel when he states, "Oh, and I am done dancing to alarm bells. No wonder my ears are still ringing. And I am done fighting off change. No wonder my arms are still swinging." She's the animating spirit coursing through his body. She is of the prima materia, which is like a Latin or Greek word for saying that she's the formless. She is the divine. She is the divine feminine. She is the formless primeval substance regarded to as the original material of the universe. She's the divine mother. She is the one who births all. And And now I love that song even more. Vor. This song and the placement in the album is puzzling. Why, after acceptance that sleep is the divine mother, do we go back to wanting to be consumed by her again, especially with such ferocity? Perhaps it's because that sleep is the totality of the feminine, Vessel is developing an Oedipal complex, and by wanting to return to the mother to be devoured, to return incestuously to the spirit that birthed him. So let's get swallowed whole. I want to go where nobody else will ever go. The frustration coming through the harsh vocals tells the story of Vessel's deep desire to be finally taken back home to Eden, before the fall of man, before the knowledge of good and evil, to be united with his soul once more. Ascensionism. In this song we have Vessel coming from a much more integrated and calm place, courting sleep, inviting her to play. Wouldn't you come and dance in the dark with me? Show me what you are, I am desperate to know. Let me get to know you, the real you. Stop with the shadows, the facade, and show me who you really are. Let me experience you in your totality. Let me be in awe of your majesty. My soul, I yearn for a deeper connection with you. The build up to the final crescendo in this song is godly. You're gonna watch me ascend. This is a matter-of-fact statement that sleep insists that we are in this together, whether you like it or not. And I know what you want from me, you want the same as me. My redemption, eternal ascension, setting me free. So I'll take what I want and then leave. And then he ends the song with something that is very, very familiar to me. You make me wish I could disappear. What this piece reminds me of is what Jesus said to God before he died. Why have you forsaken me? You make me wish I could disappear after acceptance and, moving with her, moving with sleep. Instead, at the end, he says, you make me wish I could disappear. Interesting. Are you really okay? This is sleep talking to Vessel. This is a moment of vulnerability and transparency between the two, talking as equals for once. Sleep not acting elusive or predatory, but in fact showing compassion for what she witnessed through his eyes. And don't you know, I could see it in you even then. And don't you know, I was trying to hold back the darkness. And are you really okay? While she may have been predatory and elusive in the past, she was ultimately always there for him. Sleep, being his soul from the realm of the gods, was always guiding him towards the light. Even though she exists in the dark. I cannot fix your wounds this time, but I don't believe you when you tell me you are fine. Please don't hurt yourself again. This song absolutely fucked me up when I first heard it. This song is extremely intimate for me, and that's where I'm going to be leaving this one. Just know that that one was Sleep talking to Vessel, saying, I've been here by your side the entire time. The Apparition. Why are you never real? Whenever you appear, you leave me with that grace. I am trembling with fear. But I know that you will disappear just as I awake, whisper in my ear. Things between the two are better, but there's still some disconnect between Vessel's waking self, yearning for his soul, for his anima, his whispering intuitive voice to be real, to be present with him, and not just in the dream realm. Why are you never real? The shifting states you follow me through. Unrevealed, just let me go or take me with you. This desperation Vessel feels it's so visceral. There's no good reason that Sleep has to give for why he isn't worthy for her to be with him at all times. And it's like, am I not good enough? Am I not worthy? Have I not sacrificed enough for you? Rain. For so long I have waited, so long that I almost became just a stoic statue, fit for nobody. And I don't want to get in your way, but I finally think I can say that the vicious cycle was over. The moment you smiled at me. This is the cleansing rain that washes away the dirt, the pain, the maladaptive complexes, keeping the two in a vicious cycle of codependency. So touch me again. I feel my shadow dissolving. Will you cleanse me with pleasure? Vessel understands that sleep is the reason his shadow is dissolving. She is constantly thrust unconscious material into his awareness that has deeply hurt him in the past, but he's reconciling with that part of him, knowing that the darkness once illuminated dissolves into nothingness, and there is a sense of relief upon integration, the pleasure sleep cleanses him with. Take me back to Eden. This song is based on the return to the Garden of Eden, before the fall, before the knowledge of good and evil. My, those eyes like fire, I'm a winged insect, you're a funeral pyre. Vessel acknowledges the illuminating nature of sleep. She has shown him the way to Eden, to heaven, to ascension all along. White roses, black doves, Godmother, rise up. I need you to see me for what I have become. Acknowledge me, sleep, for the work, the sacrifices I have made in your name. See me for what I have learned about duality as we move together in harmony towards unification once more. I have travelled far beyond the path of reason. Take me back to Eden. The ferocity that this was stated in at the end of the song, thanks to Vessel's amazing harsh vocals, provided me with imagery of standing on a mountaintop, screaming to the gods, am I worthy now? That's the imagery that comes to mind. Again, told you I'm a widow. Euclid. The cycle concludes. This song mirrors the night does not belong to God beautifully. The night belongs to sleep. This acceptance brings peace and understanding to Vessel so he can comfortably leave that part of him behind. She'll always be there for him, but only at night during symbols, dreams, metaphors, and the whisper of his intuition. The night belongs to you. This bow has broken through. I must be someone new. This could also be possession leaving him as he accepts his fate to create someone new. I also hope that it's his mental health and self-harm issues leaving him once and for all, as he is intentional in creating a new version of him. The whites of your eyes turn black in the low light. In turning divine, we tangle endlessly. Like lovers entwined, I know for the last time, you will not be mine. So give me the night, the night, the night. The night belongs to sleep. I really tried hard to keep this looking through the lens of Carl Jung's frameworks of archetypes and anima possession, which was really challenging. When there's so many different lenses that you can apply to art. I would like to speculate for the next album that we'll be experiencing a very different Vessel. If he has truly let go of sleep and started individuating her into the capital S self, I believe that this is the next level of alchemy that we'll be seeing. The more alchemical version of Vessel, I believe, will be him expressing ideas about how he has influenced mental, emotional, and spiritual transformation and alchemy, psychological alchemy, in the fans. Vessel stated in the live performance of The Room Below, I would also like to take this chance to tell you something. To love oneself is not an easy task. We are sometimes told it is. We're all limited by something. We are all guilty of something. My own path towards a place of greater self-acceptance is paved with the art that I create. It is a path that I continue to stumble down at the expense of everything else. I am nothing without music. I am nothing without this mask. The truth is I do not save anybody. The truth is, you saved me. You're all the savior of yourselves. Always remember that. No matter how dark, no matter how bad things get. You are the redeeming energy that can reclaim your sovereignty and awaken to your highest self. I don't want to leave you guys high and dry, but so to end this video, I'd love to thank all of the people that I've had conversations with over the last 2 weeks. Since I had this idea land in my head, the conversations, the connection, the community that has helped me bring this out, to be able to explain it, to be able to explain just how art imitates life and how it's a lesson for us all to do deeper inner work. To be able to bring a deep reverence to the feminine as such. It's something that's sorely missing from this world. It's the great work that we all need to do to be able to hold reverence, to be able to individuate, yes, but also to be able to bring light back to the feminine, bring the special place back to the feminine, because it's sorely missed. As much as I am a very masculine man, I have a deeply feminine soul. And she has taught me so much about myself, about how to love, about how to create, and how to trust. I also have a fiance, I have 2 beautiful daughters, and they teach me more than I could have ever hoped for in this life. To all the people that have reinforced that I was onto something, shows just how powerful the realm of the collective unconscious actually is. It is a realm of ideas, and it's an interesting little synchronicity just there that I got a text message while recording this. The place where symbols, metaphors, abstractions impregnate us to play out in this grand play that we're all characters of. Much like Shakespeare said, the world is a play and we're all a part of it. It's a bastardization of it, but he said something like that. The realm of ideas is a very powerful and seductive animating force. With the rise of poor mental health over the last 30 years of Western history, you can see just how important the capital S self is being integrated, being individuated, becoming whole, not being fragmented, having that guiding North Star towards something that animates you, something that inspires you. It's so important to have. That's why I do all that I do with the R.Y.S.E movement, to raise your standards everywhere, to be able to create your fuck yes life. If you don't have that guiding North Star, you don't know what you're aiming at, what are you existing for? Instead of just merely existing for something to wake up, go to work, go see your friends and stuff like that, create a life of purpose, meaning, and impact. Create a life of service to something greater than you. It will transform your mental health, it'll transform your physical health, and it will give you a life that is worth living. When you're creating your life of purpose and meaning, make sure it's something that guides you, inspires you, challenges you, but ultimately structures all of your presuppositions and worldviews so that you're not plagued with things like anxiety, depression, lack of meaning, and purposelessness. This is why the West is in decline, because of the hubris of man, putting ourselves in the place of the gods, putting ourselves into the upper realms that we are godly. We're not godly. We are human. We're fallible. We are the most broken, corrupt, complicated species on this planet. We deliberately start wars with one another because we're at war with inside of ourselves. If more people went and did things like meditation, shadow work, ayahuasca, all the rest of the things that is forcing you to reconcile with that part of you inside, or the fragmented parts of you inside, the better the world that we would have. People wouldn't be trying to war with our neighbors. We wouldn't be trying to war with other people, because we'd be healing the war that's inside of us all. When Friedrich Nietzsche said, "God is dead and we killed him," you can see how quickly the West declined towards the end of the Ion. The ending of Pisces was a celestial collapsing of opposites, of good and evil, and ultimately giving birth to the age of Aquarius, an era believed to bring in increased spirituality and harmony on Earth. It's interesting to hypothesize about the age of Aquarius from the perspective of Jung, as he stated the end of Pisces, the 2 fish, was December 21st, 2020. And with that, we're going to leave it there. Ask all of your questions in the comments or email me, dave@risemovement.com.au. The link's down in the description. This is a discussion that I want to continue through whatever comes up for you guys. Whether it's something that you've got questions around with your own individuation path. Obviously, I'm not a psychologist, I'm a hypnotherapist, I'm an allied therapist, but we can have conversations around these sorts of things. If you need a bit of help with your mental health, your physical health, or whatever else you think that I might be able to help you with, please send me an email, dave@risemovement.com.au. Much love, and thank you in advance for hitting like, subscribing, and leaving a comment. It really helps us out to be able to make sure that this message of individuation, of becoming all that you can become, of tapping into your unlimited potential, becomes true, becomes made manifest. The R.Y.S.E movement is for all of us. It is for all of us to become great, to be able to raise your standards everywhere so that the ripples can create tidal waves worldwide. That's what the work is about. Do the work internally inside of you so that you can start affecting the people in your social circles, in your family, in your community, and they can start doing the same, and it grows worldwide. Much love. Take care. Thank you very much for watching.